I generally like to save as much money as I possibly can, including when you're cutting meats. If you go to Winkle, you can pick up a whole fillet, and I'm gonna show you guys how to break it down from scratch so that you can save the scraps. Use some of the scraps, whether it's beef stock or a jus, and the other scraps you can use for whatever you want, tacos, stir fry, anything. And doing it yourself, you can get it about $11 to $12 per pound. If you have it cut, pre-cut, it can range from $25 to $30 per pound. So let's get started. All right, here we go. I generally like to pull from the big side, and I pinch the bag like this just with my hand, just to get enough grip on the top part. It kind of forces a little bit of the blood down. And what happens is the package is much thinner on the bottom. If I try to open from the bottom and pull that fat side out, it ends up getting stuck and you get blood everywhere. So I always cut from the top. One little incision, then you can tear from there and pull straight up. It's a little bit messy, but I promise you it's worth it. You discard that. And generally you can actually fill the fillet before you buy it to kind of get the most thickest piece from this part of the loin all the way down to the tail. And then you have your eye right here at the top part. So I'm gonna just give a quick trim on this. I'm not gonna get too fancy. And with fillets, you generally want to go in one direction. Once you start cutting, you pull the knife in where the fat is at, and you go all the way. And you're gonna go towards the eye. If you go the opposite direction, it can tear the meat, and it may tear it a little too much. Right there, it'll start separating it. But if you go up underneath and just go right towards that direction, right up underneath, you should be nice and have a very smooth finish right at the end. Now you're definitely gonna have to backtrack and just cut that tail piece off right there. That's no problem. So you just get up underneath, go all the way. You want a really sharp knife. Pull this, these fibers can come apart really easy too right here. You just pull that like that with your hand, kind of like you just rocking your fingers back and forth. I know you hear some sizzling in the background. I have some potatoes cooking. So the water is getting to a boil. The great thing about this meat is like, this is part of the fillet, but you don't use this at all when you're cooking the fillet. So all you have to do is literally break down all the fat off of the meat that's there. And again, like I said, you can turn this into a stir fry. You can make tacos, whatever you want out of it. You just cut it into smaller pieces, just like that. Now you have a little beef saute, and you just add these up as you're portioning out your fillet. You add up all those pieces, and you have yourself another meal with your family. The savings is incredible. And then just giving this little trim here, a little trim there. This happened to be a pretty thin piece. So like I'm gonna feel down, when I feel down the loin, and right where it goes to the point where it's just, I don't wanna use the word mush, but it gets really soft right there at the end. So right there is where it's soft. I'm gonna cut before that. Then I'm gonna take my knife on the other side and kind of piece these together. So I have, and I mean, your family, you guys are gonna eat, maybe it's gonna be around 4 ounces per fillet, maybe smaller, but they'll be petite fillets, they'll be small ones. Again, you're talking about you have a family of 4. If I were to go to the grocery store right now and pick up fillets that are already pre-cut for me, I would get 4 fillets and they would be beautiful, you know, good looking. This one has a little bit of separation there on the top, and this is going to cost me $70 to $80 right there. And then I don't get none of this, none of that, none of these extra pieces that I'm cutting. You know, I'm going to get 4 fillets for $70, or I'm going to get one whole loin for $45, $50. And then I get an extra piece here. I got an extra fillet. I got more steak bits for my tacos, and just breaking this piece up like that. You can do a beef and broccoli saute, a teriyaki beef, whatever you want. I mean, it's unlimited. And then the eye that I cut earlier, you can usually get an extra cut out of the eye. So if you get the eye, you got it, and it's firm enough on the tops and bottoms, you can get a pretty nice cut right out of the center to give you a whole nother fillet. So you have 2, 4, 6 pieces. Now you have 6 fillets for way less than what you would be paying. So if you have a family of 4, 5, or 6, let's say you got 6 people at home, well, now you got 6 fillets to cook. And then you still have leftover beef that you can make tacos with. You can just slice it at a bias like this, and even at like an angle to make it really thin. It's beautiful. You marinate this meat overnight, or just even a couple hours will give you a nice dinner. Taco meat, stir fry meat. Little messy, but again, we have our fillets that I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna show you the finished product. I got some pictures online that I'll show you guys, and then on another video, if you stick with me, I'll show you the tacos. You stick with me again, I'm gonna show you the stir fry. Thank you so much. With the steaks, I generally like to do potatoes, and you just peel them. You just put just enough water to cover it, and then salt it. And you're gonna salt it as if it's seawater, so it's gonna be very salty. And you're not gonna season the potatoes after that. And on the back here, I have a little bit of heavy cream or milk, and then I got 2 sticks of butter. And that should cover about, I think it's about 6 to 7 potatoes. Idaho potatoes, the big ones. Peel them nice, get them nice and soft, and once they're soft, I'm gonna put them in the mixer, and then I'll show you guys when the finish is done. Thank you. So we're gonna do some sauteed asparagus. A good trick, if you have asparagus and you don't know where to cut the line, if you just take the asparagus and grab it and bend, wherever it snaps, that's a good reference. And then you can just cut the rest to that size, just like that. Now, you don't have to throw these away. You can use these for an asparagus bisque, anything like that. You can use this for a veggie stock. Just put it to the side and save it. And as soon as you have all your ends of your onions or your carrot peeling or anything like that, your mushrooms, you can all put it in a stock and let it simmer on low for at least 4 to 5 hours with the little peppercorns, and then you have yourself some fresh veg stock. Okay, Mike. So I just have my plate here. I'm gonna take my 4 fillets. Nice ones, good looking. I'm gonna take a little bit of kosher salt, and you want vigorously cover this thing all the way around. Top, bottom, side, front, back, whatever you want to do. But I suggest you cover it completely. Give a little black pepper. Again, all the way around. Take a bite. All right, I have some fresh garlic that I'm gonna use for the asparagus. Just give it a smash, break the skin open. can peel off all of the skin. Just put it to the side. It's fine. That one's no good. We're not gonna use it. No good garlic. Well, so we're gonna mince this up just a little bit. I like to slide. Garlic gets really sticky right there at the end, especially when you're mincing it. Slide it out your finger off the knife on the side, scrape, and you're good to go. Okay, bye. All right, one thing I do is I always have like a spider. This is called a spider. Call that in the kitchen. You just pick up, you don't have to strain anything. You just pick up the potatoes and drop them in your mixer. Now, you can undercook a little bit the potatoes, that way they're a little lumpy, or you can cook them almost till they're just about done, and they'll end up finishing in the mixer. If you go too far, they can get waterlogged, and then you have that really runny, watery flavored potato. Nobody wants that. All right. And there's nothing wrong with using a little bit of the potato water when you blend everything together in the mixer. So I'm gonna drop that down, lock it in place. Oh yeah, I heard. Let's lock it in place first. Let them break up. So you get mistakes live mistakes. It's good. Slowly pour in your butter and milk, or butter and cream, to the consistency that you want the potatoes. If you only like a little bit, put a little bit. If you like a lot of it, put a lot of it. As my wife shakes her head. KitchenAid's are bomb. Make life easy. Now remember how salty we made the water in the beginning? I was telling you, make it taste like seawater. We're not gonna season this at all. I'm gonna taste it, and then if I don't taste the salt that I was looking for, then I'll add a little pinch. But it should be, you shouldn't even have to season the potatoes at all. All right, back, I shut it off. I'm just gonna give the bowl a little scrape so I can try to get the potatoes off the edges to fold right into the middle. I'm gonna go back on. I'm gonna run it a little higher. That's the oven I set for 350. So when I sear the steaks, I'm gonna sear them on each side for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then put them in the oven for the remaining time to get to the required temperature. Now, whatever your temperature is, whether it's rare, mid-well, doesn't matter to me. It's your money. You spend it and you cook it the way you want to cook it. Just make sure it tastes good. All right, so I put a little bit more butter in there, and a pinch of salt is all I needed. No more. Nice and creamy. Tastes great. Whip it. That's perfect. Okay, now I got 2 saute pans on. I'm gonna go ahead and fire that one. Fire the next one. Medium's good. One of them on low because the asparagus is gonna cook super fast. I don't really need that one yet. And then I'm gonna put my steaks on the left side here for the stainless steel. So because we love garlic so much, we have the minced garlic here for the asparagus. And then what I like to do is just crack the garlic open, peel the paper, and leave that cracked garlic. I'm gonna toss that in later, you're gonna see, with the fillets and the rosemary. All right, here we go. The pan's hot enough, definitely warm. I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil. And immediately you can see how it just literally separates from, that's how you know it's super hot. It starts smoking. So I'm gonna take my fillets. And like I said, I'm gonna cook these on 1.5 minutes on each side. And then I'm gonna stick them in the oven with that smashed garlic you saw me do and some fresh rosemary that I trimmed from my pot. And once that's all done, I'm gonna give them a taste and ready to eat. The searing of the pan when it's super hot, it literally allows the steak to kind of just peel off of it. And whether you have salmon, chicken, anything, if the pan's hot enough, it won't, the proteins won't stick to the bottom of that pan. And generally, a stainless steel pan is a non-stick pan. It just has to be at a proper temperature in order for it to be non-stick. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use your non-sticks, especially the ones that have that coating on it that nobody wants to use anymore, only for the eggs. And we use it for eggs and eggs only. You don't scrape it so you don't get any of that chemical into your food. But having the fillets like this, look at, I just barely touch it and it just pops up. I'm gonna flip it over. Look at the brown color on that side. Brown, beautiful. Brown is beautiful. Occasionally your smoke alarm will go off. It just happens. You see all of that steam coming up and the smoke's gonna go over and probably initiate it in the middle, which I'll pause. All right, so that's still going. The pan on the side here, I'm gonna kick back up to medium. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in here too, and then we're gonna season the asparagus once it's all coated nicely. Remember, this pan was on very low, so it's not gonna be super hot. This does not take that long to cook, but I'm gonna go ahead and get them in the pan and start cooking. I won't put the garlic in right away because I don't want the garlic to get too dark. I want these to cook, get a little bit soft. I'm gonna season it nicely, drop the garlic in to finish, and then let the oils release in the garlic on a very low. Okay, now these have been going for that long. You can see like the level in between each one. You have all that red on the middle part, and then kind of white, and then brown, and then white, and you know it's gonna be brown on the bottom. So I'm gonna take that garlic you saw me smash earlier. I'm just gonna throw it in the pot. I'm gonna get the rosemary in there. It doesn't matter where. This is gonna come off the fire and go straight into the oven. All right, I'm gonna season the asparagus. Pinch of salt, pinch of pepper, new tongs. I generally count 5 asparagus per person, so you don't waste any. You still got the ones that you left. You usually get those big bags from Costco, and you have so much. It's like, how much do you cook? Well, generally, my rule of thumb is 5 per person. 5 per person if you have a household. If you're super hungry and you only want veggies and no starch, maybe do 10. 10 for yourself. So right about now, it's about the right temperature where I'm gonna add in that garlic. I'm gonna put them on the ends, on each side. Now, if you want your food more rich, you can do a pinch of butter, and that's gonna enhance the flavor of your food just slightly. If you don't want butter, don't put, just use the extra virgin olive oil. Healthy's good. Butter is flavorful, but it can be bad for you as well. Done. So now that our asparagus is pretty much done cooking, the garlic is a nice brown color, beautiful, and those oils from the garlic are really roasted, and they're from the saute pan, and it's getting into the asparagus there. Really, really love the flavor. Go ahead and kick that on low. Our asparagus is done. And what I'm gonna do is just put it on our plate. And these are just like serving plates. And everybody can help themselves. I like to do is just finish like this. I literally take all that garlic. Sorry for the noise. And you see it kind of roasting still with the oil. It's just absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't waste any of that. What I'm gonna do is take my rubber spatula and scrape all of that off. That is something you definitely don't want to waste. And if you think it was too much on your asparagus, grab some bread and some butter, rub it on, you got some garlic bread. Okay, the fillets are out, and you can hear them searing a little bit. These particular ones, you can see that the fibers have separated on a couple of the areas, so the temperatures are going to be a little bit higher on this one. This one temped at 122, 123, 125. This one was at 97. So this one is definitely rarer. Blue even, I would call that. So what I'm going to do now is what I like to do is take my fillets, put them all in the back side of the pan, like this. And I will take my garlic, my rosemary, I put it all right there. You don't have to do it this way. There's a few ways that you can do it. I like to set it all on top and take a little bit of butter, or a lot of it. I get my spoon, and I'll tilt everything over into the steaks. Definitely don't want to catch fire, because you can. The butter will shoot back here, and the flames will come up and over. And then I tilt it back my direction. Remember, the pan is extremely hot. Extremely hot. And I just baste the steaks with the butter and the steak drippings and the garlic and the rosemary. Just incorporating those flavors over and over again. And the butter gets, the longer it sits in the pan, obviously it changes its flavor almost, because it turns to almost brown butter. And if you can get it to the brown butter flavor, that's where it becomes nutty. And that flavor is like, it's just really nice. Especially with the roasted garlic, and you have your fresh rosemary in there. You just baste it over and over again so all those flavors are into the steak. Which we know they are, because it cooked in there. But we're just giving it a little bit more love right here at the end. Alright, so we have our steaks. And again, this is just, I'm not serving it to everybody like this. I'm just setting it here so that everyone can grab their own pieces if they want that garlic and the extra sauces. You know what I mean? A good way to use the tongs that I like to do too is I end up scooping the juices almost like a spoon, and then you can just pour it over the top. Or dump it right out of the pan. All right, we have our mashed potatoes, butter, literally butter, salt, cream, or milk. Like if cream hurts your stomach, just use milk. It's not a big deal. And now, literally everybody can come and enjoy the meal. You got your mashed potatoes, your filet, your asparagus. Super easy. Only $11 to $12 per pound, compared to buying it already pre-cut at $25 to $30 per pound. And you don't get any of the scraps. So save money, enjoy.